I've totally changed how far away I stand from the golf ball, and it has rejuvenated my golf game. Hi everyone, my name is James Robinson. Welcome back to Get Good at Golf. Guys, before we kick things off, make sure you do hit that subscribe button. We are well aware that up to 65% of you guys are not subscribed who are watching these videos and getting good at golf. So make sure you do throw a like on this video. But I've changed how far away I stand from the golf ball, and it's totally changed my game, because if you stand far too far away here, note how it makes me stand a little bit lower, and note how the toe of that club actually moves up in the air. So if I now make a normal golf swing, the club comes far too far around my body here, and I'm really going to struggle to get a proper strike on that shot. It comes out toey, it comes out left, it comes out a lot shorter than you would want it to, and it's actually really going to hinder not only how far you hit the golf ball, but just if you can hit the ball on target. Another thing that you see when people are a little bit too far away, a little bit too crouched down, you might pick the club up because you're thinking, right, I know my posture isn't great, but I also know the club has to work out in front of me. I know the club has to work nicely in this position, then I can set it up with my shoulders. So if you stand too far away, work the club up and around. There's two options here that could go wrong, and very little that could go right. You could come down and across the ball. You'll see I've struggled to strike that and it's gone absolutely nowhere, or you might well drop it a little bit too much. So if I pick the club up far too much here, there's loads of room on the inside where I could bring the club too far inside and actually hit a big horrible block out to the right. I've actually managed to turn the club over a little bit there because I've fatted it and caught the mat here on the Golf Sun simulator. It's also 30 yards short of where I want it to be. So if I actually stand a little bit closer here, I'm going to stand nice and athletic. I'm going to bend from the hips a little bit, flex those knees, and just let the arms hang down. From there, I put the club in a position where it just sits nice and flat on the ground. So the golf club has a thing called a lie angle. That's obviously the angle in which it sits on the ground here, and the hosel works up into the shaft. And if I let that sit nice and neutral here, I can then work on my takeaway or my move away to get it in the best position. Graham Walker, one of the world's best coaches, once said you can't have the perfect golf swing, but you can have the perfect setup. So that's a great way of thinking, right, how can I work this with my irons? Chris is going to work it with driver in a few moments' time as well. But as soon as I'm in that correct posture, then I can actually move the club into the correct position here. I know that I've moved it in the correct position because that left arm stays nice and connected on the way back here. And if I move back towards you now, you'll see how that club is in exactly the same position. So a great way of thinking about that. And what that allows you to do then is load up to the top of your backswing, and then you're in the best position to work through the ball and hopefully hit much better golf shots just like that one. Guys, that's with irons now. Chris is going to talk us through how you can change your setup with driver to help you hit longer, better, straighter golf shots and ultimately get good at golf.
Great points there from James as always. We do see that a lot with people standing too far away from the ball. But guys, if you are looking to get better at golf and you want to have online lessons or come to Waterfront for in-person lessons, drop us an email on that email below. But I'm going to now talk about with a driver. Obviously, we know this is the longest club in your bag. The longest club in your bag, we know that's going to have the most speed. Well, we hope it's going to have the most speed. And from there, that's going to start to pull you out of position even more so. So if we're too far away from the ball, again, what we start to see is, like James mentioned, bending over too much and your weight going into the toes. So obviously, once the weight's in the toes, we're either going to pick the club up or, like James says, we're going to rescue it from underneath. If we get too close to the golf ball, we see a lot of people stood quite upright, like a pencil, arms straight. Yeah, my arms are matching the shaft. This is not a strong athletic position, and what we see from here is a lot of people are in the heels. And from there, we don't start to see much turn. We start to see people pick the club up this way, and from there, then fall back and try and guide that into a position. We obviously know there we're not going to be able to transfer weight. And how many videos have you seen where you have to start to transfer your weight? So you go into the driving range, yeah, right, okay. Chris and James told me I need to load it better and then from there transfer my weight. And all you'll do is come down on the ball, you sky the ball, and what you say, James and Chris, load of rubbish. I'm not watching that again. But we need to make sure we have that set up from the start. And once we've got that set up, we can then start to build a golf swing. So what we want to do, especially with the driver, is get that ball position right and then start to feel like, okay, I've got that little bit of bend in the knees and my arms are hanging naturally. We're not trying to force them upright. That's not going to put pressure on a golf ball. Again, if you think I'm not going to be able to get much pressure and much swing if my arm was straight, whereas if I had that bend in that, I would be able to put a lot more pressure if I was pushing against a wall, for example. So that's what we want to do here. Get these arms swinging naturally down underneath our shoulders. And then we need to think about, obviously, where is the weight front to back in our feet? We want the weight throughout the feet. So I want to think, if someone was going to push me forwards, I'd be able to hold myself. If someone's going to push me back, again, I wouldn't fall straight over. So hopefully you've got my favourite training aid, the alignment stick. I say that, I don't even know if we've actually got one.
We do have.
I would say I would stand on this, but I won't. What I want you to do is, if this is an alignment stick, what we're going to do, I'll do it with my shoes off. I don't want to break this expensive long drive shaft. So feet over it, get it through the base of your feet, and you'll start to see that there's not pressure falling you forwards and you're not falling back. So you've got an alignment stick under your shoes, then you know that your weight is evenly distributed throughout your feet. As I put my shoes back on. So get your alignment stick down there, get it obviously set parallel to your target, so like the train tracks we talk about when we're aiming, and start to get an understanding of where your weight is. You might set up, feel like, right, yeah, my arms are hanging naturally, they're just underneath my shoulders, but my heels are off the ground, I can feel that I'm actually not having that weight through it. You might see that you're sitting back and your toes are in the air. You're then going to be able to start to see that your posture might have been the thing that's been costing you distance, because once we get into a good strong posture, we get it throughout our feet, we can use the ground to get us into that strong impact position. And then I can make some swings where I'm in balance, striking it out to the middle of the club, and you'll see that I've gone straight down the middle here on the Golf Zone Simulator.
Go on! Go on! Oh.
Boo. 276 carry, 295 total, and it didn't feel like I was trying to hit that, but I've just got myself into a nice solid setup where I can turn and get back to that golf ball. Once I've got my feet set, I can keep my angles better and I can get into that kind of position, and you'll see there, hit it straight and down the middle. If you're somebody who hits a shot, right, I've done everything Chris and James has said, but then you fall forwards, again, how many times do we see that on the driving range or out on the golf course? Our weight is falling forwards, our weight must have sneaked back into the toes. And that's what we don't want to see, because we've just lost around about 150 yards of distance. And again, guys, so get into that good strong posture. If you fall back, again, that's another key thing. You might start to see you lose some golf balls to the left, but get your feet nice and solid over the golf ball, swing within yourself, and this will help you get good at golf.